Local firefighters are noticing something unusual. They're noticing an uptick in garage fires. West Metro Fire Rescue responded to 7 garage fires just in the last few months. Officials say the causes of the fires include faulty electrical wiring, improper use of extension cords, and the incorrect storage of batteries. Fire officials say each of these incidents were preventable.
So some of the fire safety tips for garages have flammable liquids. They should be in a metal cabinet. Not have excessive amount of storage. Our last garage fire that we had on the 17th, there was stuff all the way up to the ceiling, which is really hard to extinguish, let alone put out the fire. It gives more for the fuel load. Other things are extension cords, not using extension cords.
Wolf adds that garage fires are often total losses and are likely to spread to other structures, including homes. She says depending on the weather condition, fires can double in size every 15 seconds. Crews are working to restore a part of Elm Creek Park Reserve back into what the prairie would have looked like 100 or so years ago.
We want it to be natural. We're not going to be building anything out there. You know, people always see you cutting down trees and think there's going to be a new building or something. We're not. We're just cutting down big weeds.
Construction crews have been clearing out 36 acres of trees from the northeast portion of the park. Naturalists say the trees and plants that are being removed are not native to Minnesota and threaten the ecosystems of other parts of the park. This is part of a project to restore native plants to 160 acres of the park. The result will be a much more colorful landscape in a few years.
There'll be a lot of the wildflowers and the nectar plants that a lot of animals use. You'll see more of the native birds come back, things like meadowlarks.
Tree removal will continue until the end of February. The trees will be chipped up and used in landscaping projects or for fuel in St. Paul. Some sections of the trail will be closed during the project. Weaver Lake Elementary in Maple Grove kicked off a readathon event with a special visitor Friday. Hmong-American author Kalia Yang has written several books, many of which tell the story of her life and culture. In October, Yang released her first picture book called A Map into the World. Yang read her book to students and talked about the importance of telling their own stories.
But the truth is that each and every single one of us, we will build a part of the worlds that we dream of. And it is our ability to share those worlds that ultimately determine our legacy. And I want those kids to see that each and every single one of them, they're makers of history, that they will be the change that we all have been waiting for.
The Readathon event is a new fundraising activity to encourage kids to read. Students will ask for monetary donations by making a pledge to read 20 minutes a day. Funds collected will go towards school programs. A Plymouth teenager has proven himself as one of the best Tetris players in the world. I sat down with Aiden Jurdy to talk about his Tetris journey. The classic Nintendo tune and the outdated gaming station brings old memories. But 16-year-old Aiden Jurdy is restoring the game's past glories.
I've always liked sort of rhythm type games like Geometry Dash or Beat Saber.
The Maple Grove High School student happened to pick Tetris to play one day on a school iPad.
I just made it a goal to get good.
Aiden ditched the modern technology and instead used an old Nintendo NES gaming station because that's what pros were using. He became hooked.
That was exciting.
Aiden's mom began to notice how well her son was doing online and in tournaments.
So when we were there, I found out that he was the youngest ever to max out with Tetris, and I thought that was pretty exciting. And from there, we just continued to go to other events.
Eventually, I somehow stumbled upon the Classic Tetris World Championships video, and I sort of made it a goal, I guess, to make it there.
Aiden practiced up to an hour a day using a technique called DAS. It's where a player holds down on the D-pad to move pieces left to right instead of tapping it down.
While you're playing, you have to keep an eye on the next box.
The teen says his strength in Tetris is getting out of a bad situation.
So this is not a good situation to be in. So you just have to sort of dig out of it.
After a couple years of practice, Aiden's wildest dream became a reality.
Another debut player, Batfoy.
200 or 300 tried to qualify, and then 48 people ended up making it.
Including Aiden. The teen traveled to Portland, Oregon last October, where he competed against 48 people across the world.
2, 1, Tetris!
I'd been working for that just to get there for the past 2 years, and to finally be there and meet everyone and then make top 4 was super exciting.
Aiden finished third.
Give a round of applause to Batfoy!
It was a revolutionary experience as it taught him that with hard work, dreams do come true.
My ultimate goal was to make top 8. So after that point, I was happy with whatever happened.
Aiden hopes to make it to the World Championship again next fall. As the St. Paul Winter Carnival draws to a close, our congratulations to a local snow sculptor who had his hand in one of the winning entries. A Golden Valley man was part of the team taking home the People's Choice Award for the asset. This is Jason Moe's first time participating, and he played to the crowd with this Baby Yoda sculpture. The 3-member teams had 2.5 days to carve a sculpture out of an 8-foot cube of snow. They could only use hand tools. We leave you more of the sights of the snow sculpting contests.
It's been a pretty good run for Wayzata head football coach Lambert Brown in the last few months, including a state championship and this week a trip to the Super Bowl. John Jacobson caught up with Brown before he left for Florida.
The Minnesota Vikings chose Lambert Brown as their franchise's nominee for the Don Shula High School Coach of the Year award. That earned he and his wife Lindsay a week in Orlando for last week's Pro Bowl.
32 coaches down there, so we spent the week together. We just got a chance to get to know each other, talk a little football, talk a lot about program. I think probably the most special part was just really being around a bunch of like-minded coaches who are all down there, and I think it was fun to talk about, hey, how do you do this play and this play, but I think really the vast majority of the conversations were really revolved around like what's everybody doing for kids? What's everybody doing to make football special in their community?
Matt Land of Dalton, Georgia, was named the winner of the Coach of the Year. The runner-up, Coach Brown. And the NFL is sending both men to the Super Bowl. Another weekend for Lambert and Lindsay in the sun, while figuring out who will take care of their kids back here in Minnesota.
Obviously, we're really excited, and then quickly went into like the logistic part of like who's getting the kids to school Thursday and Friday, and who can take care of the kids this weekend, and those are fun things to have to worry about, so we're not complaining.
The Trojans' 13-0 season and state title brought a lot of recognition to the Wayzata football program. Coach Brown says he is just the face in Miami this week of a supportive Wayzata school and community.
To be able to walk the hall and to think about, I think people are saying congratulations to me, and there's just a lot of people I want to say just thank you to, because I know that without them that I wouldn't get a chance to do this, and I'm really thankful for everybody for making this happen.
In addition to Sunday's big game, Coach Brown says he and his wife attend the NFL Honors Awards on Saturday. Well, the regular season wrapped up this week in girls hockey. Maple Grove finished Northwest Suburban Conference play as they faced off against Rogers. On a Maple Grove power play, Lauren Stensley slides it across to Jenna Tim, and she scores from a shallow angle to give the Crimson a 1-0 lead. Stensley adds to that lead with a goal on the rush here as Maple Grove goes up 2-0 about midway through the opening period. But Rogers comes back strong. Down 2-1, Emma Rooks takes the pass and plays it around the defenseman and then fires the shot home. The Royals with a good comeback to tie it 2-2 after 1. In period number 2, Michaela Macklett plays it past the Rogers defenders and gets a backhander on net. It rolls away from the goalie, and Stella Rettram tucks it in for a 3-2 Crimson lead. Then tied at 3 in the third when Tristana Tater digs the puck loose and sets up Macklett for the goal. Maple Grove wins it 5-4. Section play gets started next Saturday, February 8th for the Crimson and Royals. In girls basketball, Maple Grove was riding a 5-game winning streak in their all-time series against arch rival Osseo, and the teams met up earlier this week. Box out cancer night at Osseo with $1,500 raised by the local basketball community. And the Orioles hang in it early. Ava Holman with a nice feed to Isabel Cronin, and Osseo's up 10-9. Jaden Klein is Osseo's leading scorer this season. This three-pointer ties the game at 22. Klein scores 12 on the night. But the Crimson go on a 17-5 scoring run to close out the first half. Jordan Lampker hits a three here. She scores 15 in the game. Then it's Izzy Brandt hitting one of her 5 threes on the night. Maple Grove goes into halftime with a 39-27 lead. Early in the second half, and Abby Schulte gets the ball in the paint and turns and scores to help the Crimson lead expand to 15. Schulte, who went over 1,000 career points earlier in the week in a win over Centennial, scores 18 points for the Crimson. They pull away and beat Osseo 71-42. They host Blaine and Coon Rapids in the week ahead.
6 made 3-pointers in the game for Osseo.